Hey guys, welcome to the episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Today, I'm talking about picture discs. I know it's something that a lot of people just don't like, but I've noticed that the quality, I think, has gotten a little bit better on these, and I want to know what you guys think about them. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you go check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist I put together every week, and the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. I guess I should preface all this by saying that I don't have a whole lot of picture discs. I've got maybe one, two, three, four, maybe half a dozen, maybe 6 to 8 picture discs total in my collection, because for the most part, I tried to stay away from them. I remember like one of the first picture discs I bought. I've actually got it framed up on my wall, so I can actually show it to you. But it's a picture disc of The Dark Side of the Moon. I'm not sure when this was pressed, but it sounds absolutely horrible. The only thing I bought it just because it looked cool. And that's kind of what I think a lot of the picture disc artwork, I think it kind of is probably geared more towards people that want it for the artwork rather than the sound quality. Because on a lot of these, the sound quality is just horrible. Especially, like I said, that Dark Side of the Moon picture disc, easily one of the worst I've ever heard in my life. It's really noisy. It's almost unlistenable at some parts in the album. But I remember when I was growing up in the 80s, picture discs, I remember picture discs from the 70s and 80s being in my friends' parents' record collections. I don't think my parents had any, but I know my friends' parents had some in their collections. And it was always one of those things where, it was kind of cool to look at. It was kind of a novelty thing even back then. But as far as sound quality goes, they were horrible back then. They were, just like that Dark Side of the Moon pressing I've got. They were all just almost unlistenable. And really, outside of that copy of the Dark Side of the Moon, a lot of the ones I bought early on were either because that was the only format I could get them on, or for kind of like a novelty kind of thing. Like I do have a copy of Janae Aiko's album Sail On. This is the only way you can get it is on this picture disc. It's definitely it's not clean sounding. It definitely has that kind of loud surface noise that you get with a lot of picture discs. And I don't know if it's the way that the picture discs are produced, if that kind of leads more to it having more noise, having more surface noise, and not really being a really good listening experience. But like I said, it's the only way I can get it. Plus it does kind of look cool. And then, of course, like novelty things like this Fraggle Rock. I grew up watching Fraggle Rock, and this was the when they relaunched it a few years ago. This was a record store day release. Obviously, I'm not buying this for sound quality. I bought it just for the novelty part of it. And the same thing with the soundtrack for the movie It. It's just really cool looking artwork on the picture disc. And a few years ago, they released one of my favorite albums of all time on picture disc. And just because of my love for this album, I picked up the picture disc version of it. But it's Dookie by Green Day. And this is kind of along the same lines as that Dark Side of the Moon pressing, where it just sounds bad. There's a lot of surface noise to it. I think I played this just recently. That's probably the second time that I've ever listened to it since I picked it up. List price on it was $25. I actually got it on sale. I want to say I paid, I think, $18 or $19 for it. And like I said, just because of my love for this album was the only reason I grabbed a copy of it. And then I think something happened with picture discs over the last few years. Like I said, I don't know if they changed the way they make them, they changed the compound, they changed how the pictures printed in them, or I'm not sure what changed in the process. But there does seem to be a difference in sound quality over the last few years. For a record store day, I think this was 2018 or 2019, was the release for Bohemian Rhapsody. And this still doesn't sound great. The standard version of it is hands down a cleaner version of this album, but I bought it because it looked cool. I love the movie. I love the soundtrack also. And it's one of the rare picture discs that came in a standard sleeve. So I thought that was kind of cool also, because I will say that the packaging on these are absolutely horrible. And the longer you leave them in these just plastic sleeves, the worse they are for the records. I've seen them get stuck and peel off on the inside of these sleeves. They're just horrible. So I like seeing them produced or presented in a standard record format. But like I said, it's mainly about the sound quality. The sound quality on this one is a drastic improvement over this, but it still has some sound issues. And then I think it was back in 2019. I was buying a couple of Taylor Swift albums, and I wanted to get a copy of Reputation. But there's no way in hell I was going to spend a couple $100 for that album. I'm not even a big fan of the album, and I knew I just wouldn't listen to it very often. It's like I said, no way am I going to spend a couple $100 for it. But so the only way it was available to me was on Picture Disc. And the first time I played this, I was really impressed. I couldn't even tell I was listening to a Picture Disc. I will say it's got the same artwork as the album cover, but it's quiet. It sounded like a standard pressing of the album, and I was really impressed with the quality. And that's why I kind of started looking into seeing if they had changed anything. There's really nothing I could see online, at least, that said that they kind of changed anything with the production of Picture Disc. But this thing sounds fantastic. So over the last several years, The Cure have been releasing a bunch of albums for Record Store Day. At least, I would say, it's been at least the last 3 or 4 Record Store Days that they've released a Picture Disc on. And I've never picked up any of them, even though I kind of considered it, but because of the sound quality issues that Picture Discs have traditionally had, I've stayed away from them. But I've read a bunch of great reviews on them, and then this year they released one of my favorite live albums of all time on Record Store Day as a Picture Disc release, and I grabbed it just because, like I said, the reputation of these Cure releases had been really good. And this thing sounds absolutely fantastic. This is easily, I would say this and Reputation are easily the 2 best sounding Picture Discs I've ever heard. The Cure actually just released this on a standard black release. It's actually over my shoulder here on my record wall. And with as good as this album sounds, it kind of gave me pause and made me kind of second guess whether or not I was going to pick up that standard copy. I ended up grabbing it, of course, just because I'm a degenerate record collector. But like I said before, the sound quality on this one, it sounds almost the same as that standard pressing. So that's why I kind of wanted to throw it out to you guys and ask you, have you noticed a big difference on Picture Discs? Have you picked up any of the recent Picture Discs over the last couple of years? Because the last couple I bought, like I said, at least the last 2 or 3 kind of give me hope moving for Picture Discs. I know Picture Discs are largely just kind of a novelty kind of thing, and I still wouldn't buy them if there's a standard version available. Unless it's like I said before with Dookie or Dark Side of the Moon, one of my favorite albums of all time. That's kind of different. But for like a standard release, whether it's show or anything else, if there's a standard version, I'm always going to pick up that version of it. But at least, like I said, the last couple of releases, I've noticed a huge improvement over the way these sound. I want to know if you guys know anything about that, if you guys have experienced that. But drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, if you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. But that's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.